Hello, am I audible? This is terrible if audio still doesn't come out. Wow, just give me a moment. This sucks.
Hello.
Wow.
Audible. This is
Alright, we're finally live. Thank God for all of this. I just have to say before we get started, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers, because we had been waiting for this for so long. We started these live streams at 100 and now we're at 1,000, so this is insane. But with that said, let's talk about today's UI, super duper fun freelance UI design project. So sometimes when you go into the freelance market and you have an entire landing page to make, it becomes really, really important to know how you're going to go through that whole process, right? And so that's just what we're going to talk about today. Because in this live stream, we're going to design this entire UI from scratch. And as you can see, it looks modern, it looks cool, it looks like every modern 2025 e-commerce store landing page that you'd want to see. This is for a small jewelry store, but it looks insane in terms of the simplicity, in terms of the minimalism, in terms of all of the different UI styles that we're using. Hello, Sammy. Hello, the girl. Welcome, everyone. Let's just get started. This is so awesome. Being here after 1,000 subscribers, it's insane. I'm so happy about it. Let's just get started. So, the first thing you need to do in order to get started, and yes, these are my Twitter and Instagram posts. I went back to Twitter and I went back to Instagram. So, now we're doing all the social media. But before we get started, you need to have a Figma file. That's just step one. So just go over to the top, click on plus, and click on a new design file. And that's just going to create a simple new design file for you. Let's get started. If you guys have any questions in the entire process of this stream, drop them in the chat. We might pause to take a question or two as they come along. But with that said, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is going to create a frame at the bottom. And now the most basic thing about this frame is it has to be from one of these predefined frame sizes, because when you don't have that, this laptop mock-up screen border that is visible is not going to be visible. So in order to have this, in order for better presentation to happen, you need to have one of these, any of these. It doesn't even matter which, it just needs to be one of these. And sometimes if you are not sure, you can always check this out using your prototype settings and choose which device to use. So in this case, for us, we want a MacBook Pro 16. Let's just do 16. And then the prototypes tab is always going to maintain the prototype settings as MacBook Pro 16. This is just basic setup. With that done, let's just get into the next step. The next step is going to be the header, of course. So this is usually the header, and for the most part in most modern UIs, you're going to have a nav bar. Like this is what I've already talked about before. In most headers, you have a logo, you have these links, and then you have a nav bar with all of these icons and stuff. But in e-commerce specific UIs, almost always it makes sense to have this offer, to have this coupon, to have this one thing that the store is offering that's extra, and then to have that at the very, very top. That's just how you're going to attract more people to the brand, and that's just how it's going to work. So this header is a little bit different than what we usually do, and we're just going to get started with our notification bar. So the first thing we're going to make is the notification bar, and it's going to have a special offer. One of the exciting parts about today's UI is the font family that we're using, because we've already used normal sans serif fonts and all the normal stuff that happens with typography, but this time it's going to be fun because we're also using a mono font, which is this weird code-like font, but it's just difficult to use if you're just getting here from sans serif, and it becomes easier as you go through it. So we're going to tackle that today as well. Also, I would want to add over here, Figma just introduced a couple of new updates. For example, this contrast checker, and the reason it becomes so important is it checks the relative contrast according to WCAG guidelines with relation to what the background is. And if you don't know what WCAG is a set of rules that basically describes the amount of contrast that you need to have. So for example, if the background over here was, let's just do a very dark shade of brown, then it would generally become difficult for us to read any dark black text over here. Like I have this in black, but if you had plain black over black, it would become really, really hard to read. And then this number would not be a positive, or the contrast standard would not be met, and so you want this to be in the higher ranges, and this ratio always needs to be maintained. This has to be at least 3:1. This is the value that everyone thinks about. All right, with that sorted, and I wanted to address this because someone asked us about WCAG recently, and we just wanted to clarify what it was. Also, Figma introduced a new update called Fig Pals, which were nice little pets that you could have in Figma, and I liked one, and I made one, and I called him Ricardo, and he was a star. He's in the community posts if you want to see him, RIP Ricardo. And then Figma took it away, which was horrible to my heart. What happened, Figma? Alright, now we're going to add a title, which is going to be Summer Sale up to 50% off. And now you're going to see me fumble as I type because I am not good at typing live stream. So, Summer Sale 50% off. Wow, I'm not stumbling today. This is insane. Summer sale up to 50% off. Wow, I cannot type again. Zup to 50%. Yup to. We have to have someone on the stream read all of the weird typos that I type, because at this point it's not even a joke anymore. It's not even mistakes anymore. I'm just doing way too many of these weird non-typable. Use code summer20 at checkout. Alright. Use code summer20 at checkout. With that said, I feel like it's been a long time since we've come back on stream. So if anyone has stories to share about their UI design journey, it would be incredible to have you over here. Alright. So we're going to change this font into a mono font, which is these weird code-like fonts. Roboto Mono is the most basic mono font that you can find, and because if you've already used sans serif fonts, you know about Roboto. So Roboto Mono is a close mono cousin to your standard Roboto. And then we're going to just place this at the top, reduce the line height because I feel like this is just too much. This is going to say summer sale up to 50% off, and you can increase the size here as well because 12 is way too small. Let's bring this up to 16 because if you're doing something and you're not even doing it in 16, it's just way too small for anyone to see. All right, now that this is done, the next thing that we need to talk about, obviously, is the cross sign, because most of the times, many people will be annoyed by annoying notifications, and there is a good idea of letting the users stop if they want to. That's just okay. We're going to change this to white, and then we're going to do one more line and just make sure it's all 90 degree. You could get an icon over here, but you could also do this manually, and both are absolutely fine. We're going to press shift and select both of these lines, and then control G, and that's going to group this X for you. You can make this thicker if you want to. I feel like 2 or 3 is just more than enough in this case, and obviously we need to make this smaller because how large can you really make it? 2 is fine. Also, this number looks good as well. I feel like we need to at least have it be similar to the size of this. Like, this looks literally double of what a font is over there, and you can just find these things visually. It's just super duper plain, super duper basic. With that said, I recently got back to Instagram, which was fun because I left Instagram for a little while. My account was still there, but I wasn't just doing anything with it. Uninstalled Instagram for the longest period of time. The reason being, it was just really annoying to use on desktop, but really soon I realized, you know what, I'm getting back to the phone stuff anyways. So we're back on Instagram if you are there. So just follow me, link in the description. Alright, now we're going to type out the title, which is Gem Boutique, the most basic stuff of all. Have you guys heard about Figma AI now generating excellent first drafts? Because I didn't have much clues on that, but I tried it out recently and I kind of like it, because in the beginning it was just plain trash, but now that's not the case anymore, which is nice. One of the reasons, alright, we're going to change this to Bebas New. That's the font family that we're using for this logo, and then we're also going to increase the size over here just by a little bit. One of the things that was weird about AIs with UI design was Figma AI came along, and then you had a couple of other AIs came along. It was Musho AI, and then I think there were other ones, but all of them were paid, so I didn't always try each and every one of them. And here's the interesting part. All of these started at a very bad place compared to a standard beginner UI designer, but Figma AI has caught up to everything so fast in terms of generating first drafts, in terms of removing background images, which was, I used photo room background remover before Figma AI, but now I'm just okay with this, and Figma has just caught up to everything so quickly, which made me realize that if you're on a free plan, even if you're on a pro plan, if you're not paying anyone for the service of Figma, then you probably are the product, and that's truth for most parts. And when Figma gets to train their data, I don't know if it's real and out in the news or not, but when Figma gets to train their data on such huge quantities of UI design, you are automatically going to end up with better looking results and just a much stronger AI UI bot, if that makes sense. Home, collections, about us, contact, blog are the 5 links that we're building today, so we're just going to type them out. Like, if you haven't checked out Figma First Draft yet, if you want to watch me do it right now, just type AI in the live chat and I probably will try it. But Figma AI has caught up really quickly, which was incredibly surprising to me, because I didn't think it would be this good, you guys. It's incredible. But a lot of it has to do with the data they train it on, because I used Musho in its early days, but now I feel like it just repeats itself. Like, if you try to use Musho, which is a plugin in Figma for generating UI designs, and obviously you have to change a couple parts, but you generate enough Musho designs and you'll realize that there is a pattern in all of them, and the data set that they've trained it on is much more limited compared to Figma, for example. Like the stuff they're doing over here is insane. Alright, with that said, let's just select all of these and group them together, add a group, Control G, and then we're going to add layout as well. So this is going to be auto layout, have equal spacing everywhere. Figma is changing their UI and everything so quickly. Also, if you were in the news, if you just went to see the news, you might have known there was an image that went viral related to Figma, and it was about, along with here on the share button, along with having present and preview and all of these other options, they've also had a website option, which is their competition to Framer and Webflow, I believe. And I don't know if it's real. They say it's in Figma Alpha, but it's sort of a legend. It could also be photoshopped. We don't know yet. But it is quite interesting to think about what would happen if Figma automatically gave us sort of HTML, CSS, basic website code. I feel like it would get really interesting. It would get really interesting. But I was also in Pablo Stanley's, the legendary Pablo Stanley's, Instagram group, because they have those on Instagram now, Instagram group, and he made a very interesting point there, which was about AI can generate code, which is what Figma website option might do, which they might introduce in FigJam, which happens in May. That's just a prediction the people are making. Before I say anything about Figma, did you guys know Canva introduced Canva AI, which was awesome? Sorry, Canva code, which is awesome because it generates a lot of things in code. Riz, aka Rig, says hello. While I'm speaking about these topics, I do want to bring to attention, let's just type search icon over here, because that's what we're doing. Canva introduced Canva code, and I'm genuinely interested in knowing, would you as a user of UI UX design do UI designs in Canva? Because they claim you can do UI designs in Canva. I've tried it, it's sort of meh, but would you do UI design in Canva just to get your website code from there? Type yes or no in the chat. I do want to know, because this is really interesting. Another interesting point that Pablo Stanley made in his group that I was about to talk about is, you can generate a lot of code, but when it makes mistakes, then you're sort of stuck there without anything to do, and that becomes a problem for people who do not know code. It's not a problem for me, and I'm not singling myself out, but I do know how to program. So even if AI generates sloppy code, it's weird and it's insane. So, and I can fix it. So the point is, would you guys use Canva code to generate code of your UI designs? Because I have a lot of questions about it. Riz says, call me Rig, it's fine. Thank you so much. Let's group this together, and now we're going to add an auto layout. the speed with which all of these, every single company related to UI UX design, related to our field, is integrating rapid code and AI is quite scary to some, and I can understand why. It's just all happening way too quickly, and it's just like every single day there's a new update now. Like, you can't be chill and safe at all. Rig says, I am new to Figma UI design as a whole. I'm actually doing startup SaaS. Any valuable tips for SaaS UI? If you go to the playlist section of this channel, I'm pretty sure you can find some builds in the 100 days of UI live stream section which have something to do with SaaS. We've done a couple of SaaS live streams. In fact, on this channel, the most popular live stream in the live stream tab is, if you go by the popular filter, is a SaaS. So you might want to check that out. And of course, there's going to be so much stuff that's just dropping on this topic on this channel. Getting back to the point, the way things are getting just fast-tracked in the world of technology with UI design, with code, with AI is incredible. With that said, there's another thing that I want to talk about today. There was a recent trend of course, there was the trend of Ghibli, if you want to call it that, images that AI generated. But also there's a trend of now it generating faces of Barbie dolls and Barbie sets, which I wanted to try, but I haven't yet. Has anyone tried that yet? Because I might. But also there is a trend of vibe coding, which is also something we need to talk about. It is when programmers, the people who take these designs and turn them into real websites, use a lot of AI driven code, not even understanding what it does, just vibing out to whatever it spits out. And Rick says, thanks a lot, we'll check it when I get time. You absolutely should. My point is, with vibe coding, there is a recent trend that talks about just giving everything off to AI and then waiting and watching as AI spits out some code and not realizing what it does, which is getting on my nerves, because I've tried vibe coding before. The vibe coding word was a term, and the mistakes it generates for any basic UI design makes you want to vomit, because as someone who understands code, sometimes AI will dig itself in a hole so deep even I can't dig him out. So it's just like that. Like, it becomes insanely difficult. Like, I could dig it out, but the kind of holes that AI digs for itself, I'm fumbling on English now, this is a new update in the Veera software, it's just not very reliable. Like, vibe coding is not reliable. Also, there were some, I don't know if this was real or fake, there were some job trends apparently for vibe coders, and I job descriptions and postings, and I just don't think they're real. If they are, I just don't think they're only going to require users to, like, people to prompt. There has to be some amount of programming in knowledge involved. Like, there has to be, because if there isn't, wow, I could not imagine, I could not believe that vibe coder as a position is very reliable for a job description in any company. Like, I wouldn't believe it. It's not a very reliable thing to go off of. Speaking of all of this yapping that I'm doing, do you guys want to see all of this yapping combined on a podcast? Because I feel like there's so much new stuff happening in technology every single day. I didn't plan on doing a podcast this soon, but I didn't plan on doing live streams this early either. So I feel like we could do a tech-related UI UX design, programming-related podcast, because the more I'm active on places like Twitter and Instagram, the more I realize the need to just keep everyone updated about all of the stuff that's happening. Just type yes in the chat if you would like to see that podcast series. Rig says, I actually wanted to design a header for the same website, but I'm confused whether to keep it background transparent or put a drop down. Background transparent or put a drop down, you could do both. Honestly, both of those are things that could lead to good results. At the end of the day, you have to try the both of them out and see what works best. Like, it's just really hard to say anything without seeing what you're designing right now. All right, the next thing, Rick says, yes, that's incredible. We might have to make a podcast on this really, really soon. And I feel like we should, because when we crossed 100 subscribers on this channel, I thought it was too early. Wow, the AC is driving us insane. Let me just shut that out. All right. when we were at 100 subscribers, someone requested for 100 days of live stream, 100 days of UI design challenge, and the only way to do that in the long run was live streams. And that's why we sort of started live streams. They aren't daily anymore. They happen weekly on Sundays at 9:30 p.m. IST now, which is a new change. But now we've added this separator, and here's the thing, here's the interesting part. You can add this separator or you can choose to remove it, and both of these are going to be equal styles that work. But before we have designed this section, before we don't know the amount of spacing that this is going to take, it makes sense to reserve this amount of space using a line, even if you're not going to use it in the future. Like, you could hide this line, delete this line in the future, but when you haven't designed other sections, when you don't know the amount of space they're going to take, it makes sense to have that line over there. With that done, we're going to add a title: Discover the Elegance of Handcrafted Jewelry. The font that we're using is a serif font, but it's my new favorite. I used to have the serif favorite Playfair display, but now this is called The Seasons. Hold on, let me just type out the word discover and I'm going to show you this awesome font. The Seasons. UV asks, how much time did you take to get to this level of experience in UI UX? How did you teach yourself, and what channel did you follow? This is the dream question. Thank you so much for asking that question. Wow, I got too excited. I have been a UI UX designer and programmer for 5 years. The font that we're using here is The Seasons, by the way. And so, in a way of speaking, all of this that you see has happened over 5 years. Like, everything about UI UX design programming that I know has happened in that period. I was self-taught, of course, learned from all of the YouTube and course creators, the great people on the internet, but I feel like there is an element missing from modern, of course not my channel, but modern UI UX design, that the way they're teaching things, and that's what I'm trying to bring to this channel. On this channel, in the live stream section, you will find so many live streams, and the reason I do those, even though they're absolutely taxing, is because on most tutorials, you'll find that one interaction, that one section, that one cool effect that they show you, and then it stops. So I feel like to become a real world freelance UI UX designer, or you can find a job, but I feel like freelance is what we focus on this channel more. It makes sense to go through entire process, even if it takes an hour or so, even if it takes a long amount of time, it makes sense to go through the entire process of designing a website, because I learned it scattered and I did not like that, and it took me a long period of time. So I feel like if you go through the whole same process of learning with this channel, there is a very high chance you're going to do it more quickly. Like, you're going to do it within watching a couple live streams, within a few weeks, within a few months. Like, it's going to be much quicker. There is a roadmap for UI UX design, by the way. It's in a video. Hold on, let me just search this for you. There is a video on this channel called The Ultimate UX Design Roadmap, and you can find that as the third last video. Like, if you go to the video section on this channel, the first most recent video is the dark mode video. So the third most recent video is the one that I'm talking about. You have to watch that video because it talks about my whole journey of UI UX design, the time it takes, the time it's going to take for you to get started in this field. So if that makes sense. All right, getting back to what we were talking about. If you have any questions, you guys let me know, because I'm always happy to answer questions. Let's change the font size to 96. This is going to be huge as a font size. The Seasons is also an awesome font because it lets you do light, regular, and bold, which is font weights, which you don't usually get in most fancy fonts. So if you have a fancy font that's not very regular looking, like the Seasons, it makes sense to have more than one font width. And now I'm going to type this out, and now you're going to see the number of typos I make. Can someone count the number of typos I make in the whole sentence? Discover the elegance of handcrafted jewelry. Now, can someone just count that for me, please? Discover the elegance. I don't even know if I'm going to remember this whole thing. Of handcrafted. Am I making no typos? Wow, this is insane. Wow, I did not make any typos. What's the spelling of jewelry? I don't know. I think this is the spelling of jewelry. Other than that, I think I didn't make any typos, which is great. I feel like peer pressure or the pressure of being found guilty of creating way too many spelling mistakes got to me. Yuvi says, thank you for answering. Thank you for asking. Let's align this text to the center now, and this is really important. Center alignment is important for UIs of this format. So there's a couple of different formats of UI. Sometimes you have text on the left side, image on the right side. Sometimes you have image on the right side, text on the left side. But many times you have title at the top or text at the top and then an image at the bottom. And when you have title at the top or text at top and image at bottom, always have text center aligned. If you've ever used Microsoft Word, which which everyone has, I think. I'll get to the questions, you guys, in just a moment after I complete what I'm talking about. If you ever used Microsoft Word, many people I know, which is awkward, love to use justify text for filling text in places. And when I came to Figma, there was no justify text, and that confused me for a little while. But honestly, after you use center line long enough, you'll realize that was not a very good option to begin with. And I'm going to get to why in a bit. Let's just scroll this up, add a little bit of line spacing. All right, I feel like this is where we need to have an image. Figma can generate images now using Figma AI, and I would have provided these images, but Figma AI is more shocking, so I'm just going to show you how that happens. This is an image of a necklace in deep pink, so let's just search for that. Can Figma generate images, or am I just forgetting things now? Images, make an image. Make an image is the option that we want, AI beta. Image of a necklace. I used to call necklace when I was really, really young, and that just came back for some reason. Made of rubies on silk cloth. I'm sincerely hoping Figma image generation does some magic. Let's let this image generate itself. UV asked, what do you do at DevFast? It is my brand. It is my place where I make awesome things along with a team of awesome people. So if you like it, maybe subscribe and we'll talk on this channel about that at some point. All right, I feel like this is as close as we're going to get. Figma does give us 4 options when we're doing anything, which I like, and you could get any other image, but I feel like this is also a good enough image. Like, you could run with this, and I'm low-key okay with it, so I'm just going to cancel it now. This image looks good enough. I think I should have added the color gold as well in my prompt. Maybe add that in your own prompt, but learn from my mistakes. This looks good enough to go. All right, the next thing I want to do is expand this section, because we're going to create another section. This is going to be unmatched craftsmanship. Now, there is a secret in this entire section. Can anyone find what this section does differently? What special effect we've used in this section? Can anyone find that for me, please? Type that in the chat, because I want to see how well you know UI UX design. What's so special about this UI that is not present in most other UIs? Like, it has text, it has image, maybe some good alignment and fonts, but what is present here that you don't really see in other sections? What makes this section special? There is one special effect that we've used, and there is a special name to it. Can anyone type that out in the chat? While that happens, I want to design the section first, and then we'll talk about the special effect. So, to do any section, UV, the answer to your question is yes. To do any section, you're just going to create a new frame, and the reason you would create a new frame is just so it takes up the entire space. All right, and we're going to add a fill. Let's just make this black, just so we know the space that we're working with. This is making things much clearer for us, and we're also going to generate an image. I'm going to change the color back to white, but I do want to delineate the space that's taking really clearly. Let's do necklace from the make image feature. Let's do necklace made of rubies. I feel like Figma is rapidly doing so much new stuff, and there were Fig Pals that came in, if you guys remember, a little pet that sat over here. And you know, my first reaction to Fig Pals was, I did make a Fig Pal and I did post about him very publicly, but my first reaction to Fig Pals was, this is going to take up a lot of space, and it might get deprecated, and I didn't post about it anywhere, because not every single thought you post online immediately. But I did think for a moment, when Figma just launched, it was a big thing that this spacing that it was taking along this button, next to this button, was just going to get too much really quickly, and that thought did occur my mind. Wow, I'm losing English now. But eventually the exact thing happened. They got taken away from us after we got emotionally attached, and now there's an entire movement on Twitter about bringing back FigPals, but I don't know how doable that is. FigPals are still available as stickers in FigJam, which is awesome. Do any of you guys have FigPals inside of Figma? Did anyone make FigPals in the meantime other than me? All right. The effect that I was talking about, because I can't sit on the secret any longer, is gradients. This is not a white piece of background. This is not a plain white or plain gray background. This background uses a special gradient, which is a linear gradient, which is a gradient that happens in a line. If you don't know what a gradient is when you use two colors and you have a very, very smooth transition between them. So we're just going to place one color on one of the edges and the other color is going to go outside. It's not going to be on the entire place, but it's going to go outside, because this is the kind of lighting you want for your product. Now you could have this necklace over here, or you could have this necklace over here. The reason, wow, I just closed a bunch of tabs. The reason I've done that is because it doesn't matter. Wow, did I open two Figmas? I think I did. Let me fix that. Wait a minute. All right, we're back. So what I was talking about is, it makes sense whether you're doing this or you're doing that. It makes sense to use the same exact gradient. Images at the end of the day don't matter. What you do with the images does matter. So this is going to go outside towards a 45-degree angle, if that makes sense. And the black is going to change to a dark shade of gray. The gray is going to change to white, and that's just the color scheme that we were using. Now you can work around with these colors, see what works best for you. I think Figma made this weirdly transparent, which is making my life more difficult now, which makes me angry. Let's try to remove the background for this guy once again. I do want to try this one more time. With that said, I think there is a lot of framer chat. Wow, I'm just not good at this. Not at all. You know what? Can we just undo this background removal, please? Can we just bring this image back? I feel like this was much better. We'll just do a black background. I know we did a white background over here, but a black background works too. And then we're going to use the same exact gradient, if I'm making any sense at all now. All right, can we just remove the background once again? Because now it might make a little bit more sense. Before I talk about this section, I do want to talk about Framer. Do any of you use Framer? Because Framer launched a new scheme. Wow, I said scheme like it's a scam. But Framer did launch something new for creators. I feel like they're doing an entire brand image overhaul, and a lot of the stuff that's happening there is also now amazing. I wasn't the biggest fan in the beginning, but now I'm just getting to use Framer much more, even though I do programming, which is fun, wild. I'm going to talk about that in the future now. All right. So now we're going to talk about the stuff that gradients can do. This is a black background, and this image has its background removed, but because we added a light gradient, and the reason I wanted to add a light gradient is because there is a color in this mannequin, pink, that you would want to have as the color that brings the light or brings the shade. And when that happens, this looks so beautiful, you guys. And this is exactly the same thing that's going on over here. Instead of doing a black and a pink for a gradient, they're using a white and a gray, and the reason their gradient color over here is gray is because their jewelry is also gray, if that makes sense. All right, but the text is going to remain the same. Unmatched craftsmanship. All right, so I'm just going to go over here, create a new text block, and type out unmatched. Wow, I can't type. Craftsmanship. Webflow is another cool alternative to the whole programming a website story, but I dislike Webflow a lot for some reason, because the whole WordPress inspired coding world that it takes us through, it's exhausting. Like, you will try Webflow and then you will fail again. I did try WordPress in the very beginning, but I just never liked it. I think after you learn programming, which gives you a lot of freedom, especially if you're in the freelancing world, you just never want to go back to no code. And Framer is not included over here because Framer is actually doing some cool stuff that I do want to bring on this channel in the future. All right, let's talk about the description now, which is going to be in our mono font, Roboto Mono, because instead of doing a sans serif today, we're doing a serif, which is the seasons, this font, with a mono font, which is something unique, something we haven't done. And this actually looks really professional, and I'm proud of it. insane. All right. Our unique pieces are crafted with precision and love. I'm just going to copy this text now because I do not think I can type it without blowing my own head off. All right, let's just go over here and type out some text. I'm just going to right click and paste it here, paste our text over here. I do encourage you to pause the video over here and type this out if you're designing along with us. We're going to change the font back to Roboto Mono. I do post on the community section of this channel a lot of really cool UI design quizzes. If you have solved them, if you have tried them, what did you think of them? Like it's nice to put yourself in those shoes, isn't it? I did want to talk about recently the whole idea of, I did get a new idea recently, which is about what questions keep you up at night. And yes, this is related to UI design, and I want to talk about a couple of things that keep the people watching up at night. For example, when I was a beginner, when I didn't have any of this stuff that I do have now, one thing that kept me up at night was, how do you get started getting real clients? Am I good enough to get started with UI UX design? I am going to, in the next coming days, make an effort to solve those questions that just keep you up at night, that actually keep you worried. And if you guys have any questions of those sorts, can you just put them in the chat? Because I do want to talk about them a little bit, solve them out a little bit. Maybe how do you get your first client? Are you good enough to get started? And all of those weird questions that come in as you get started. Like we'll make an effort to solve those as well. All right, we're just going to right click and create a very simple button. So we're just going to frame this selection now, add an auto layout, make sure there's a little bit of padding at the top and bottom and at the left and right. So that's just going to take up the space that it does. This is going to be white in the background color, and the text color is going to be black again. And I do want to try this out once. The color for the background can also be the deep pink that we've been using. I feel like this is also very interesting as a shade. Like, check this out. This looks arguably better than plain black and white. Like, I'm just committed to this. I'm just going to run with it. It looks beautiful, and I'm just going to say that this looks good enough to go. All right. What are the questions keeping us up at night as UI UX designers? I feel like there needs to be an effort from my side, which is going to be in the future, to address that entire question. Let's just group this together, and this is going to be the next section that we've made, unmatched craftsmanship. All right, the next section that we're going to be making on this channel, on this landing page, is this featured product section. For this, we're going to have a line separator, but in this case, we've changed the color, which is fine as well. And one of the reasons I like to change colors is when the thing that you're making gets boring, when the background page gets boring, for one section only or for a huge amount of time, just change the background color. Before I do that, I do need to drink water because I'm screaming for the last 30 minutes, I believe, on this stream. All right. This is either this is like our 70th or 80th live stream on this channel, I think, and it's still blows my mind how I'll never get used to the weird watched feeling of drinking water live stream. That's the weirdest part of this channel of all. Now I want to talk about consistency with UI UX design. When you're doing any of these UI UX designs, consistency becomes really important. What I mean by that is the title that you're using, the sizes that you're using for all of these are very important to just maintain. We're going to change the size to we're going to change the color to black, but the size is going to remain exactly the same. Because if you don't do that, then it becomes really weird to just use them over and over again. Changing sizes, changing design styles each time just makes your life a whole lot difficult. Let's change this to featured products. I've been doing so many projects now. Everything I type comes out as featured products. Let's just align this over here And now we're going to make a slider. I feel like this is going to be an interesting slider because not only are all of these images going to be Figma generated, but also we're going to have to stay really, really close to the actual colors. And it's also going to be a test of which color gem is it, because I'm not really familiar with the whole gem and jewelry spectrum of things, even though I probably should be. I don't really know that much about gems and jewels, so this is going to be a good test of my own IQ as well. Alright, let's add a fill just to know the space that we're taking up. And now we're going to go over here, make an image. This image is going to be an emerald necklace on silk, because that's the background that we're photographing everything and taking the photo of the whole thing in. I feel like there were a lot of image generations tools that came in, but the tool that blended the most seamlessly with most UI UX designer workflows is Figma AI. Like, I get the whole feeling of other AIs coming in as well, and Leonardo and Midjourney were at the top of the game. ChatGPT is, I think DALL-E is the name of the ChatGPT AI bot, is also very, very good at AI image generation now. But the one that genuinely will mix the most seamlessly with UI designers' workflows in the modern times is going to be Figma AI. That's just the where I'm at with this now, because I was really excited about AI generating images as well when it started. But now, and I'm going to crop this image as I talk about this topic now, but now I feel like the easiest option is often the one which requires us to do the least effort, and the whole prompting and getting everything right is pressure enough. So Figma AI is just doing the most seamless, wonderful job. I do think the data set that they're using is incredible, but I also do wonder if they're taking the data that we've already fed and used in Figma. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I do think we need to be thinking about how insane Figma's new AI features are. Diamond jewelry, I don't even know at this point. I'm hoping sapphire is blue because the next one is going to be blue. If it isn't, then you'll know I made a mistake. Alright, we're just waiting for this to generate itself. Very, very simple stuff. One of the best parts about these live streams is if you're just live over here, you can find the stuff that we do and you can find it really, really easily. The reason these images are squishing so weirdly, I know what you're thinking, these images are so weirdly squished, is because we were generating another image on top of another image, which was messing with the way things worked. Quickly guys in the chat, 1, 2, 3, 4, which image do I use? 1, 2, 3 or 4? Can I just get a vote on that? 1, 2, 3 or 4? Just type out 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in the chat. Come on you guys, really, really quickly. Like there is a sizable population watching. You do realize when you don't comment, the people who watch this stream after the stream is done think that no one watched my entire stream, and it's quite embarrassing. Can anyone say 1, 2, 3 or 4 please? Can anyone just do that? Alright, while that happens, I do see the number. Can anyone let me know which number we should use? 1, 2, 3, 4 for this entire stream. Can anyone do that? I'm trying to do the whole voting thing on live streams now. I don't know what the delay is though. Sometimes I speak and then it takes 3 minutes to reach to you, which is weird as well. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead with this one. Content Guru says 4. I'm committed to that now. 4 it is. Thank you, Content Guru. 4 is what we're doing now. Alright, I do think we need to do 2 others. One is going to be emerald, one is going to be ruby. I don't know a lot about jewels. I'm hoping to God emerald is blue or purple, and if it isn't, then I'm going to be embarrassed. Emerald jewellery. And next time as well, Content Guru said 4, we're using 4. For this next image as well, you guys, you need to tell me which image I use. 1, 2, 3 or 4. Come on, be on your knees for this. Quick. Be on your knees, is that even a term? I'm just messing up English now. This is awesome. Is emerald the green one? I think we just did that. What is the blue one though? I wanted the blue one. Sapphire might be the blue one. Sapphire jewelry. Wow, I'm just so bad at jewels. Don't judge me, but I'm just horrible at this jewelry stuff. I don't wear any jewelry. I don't know why, but I'm just terrible at telling the colors. I forget all the names. let's hope we get a good UI. And when it does come 1, 2, 3, or 4, come on, I need a vote, you guys. I need a vote. 1, 2, 3, or 4. All of these are impeccable. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. I know there's a latency. I know it takes a couple of seconds for you to read, for you to hear what I'm speaking in real time. This isn't as real time as we thought. Might have to change the latency on these streams. But 1, 2, 3, or 4. Come on. Leave a comment really, really quickly. I'm just waiting now for a comment. 1, 2, 3, or 4. You know what? I see the number 4 once again, and I'm going to go with 4. 4 looks quite nice. The next thing we're doing is obvious. I'm getting another vote number, which is 1. So you know what? We're committed to 1. Let's just do 1. All right. The next thing that we're doing is going to be the pink one. I don't know which the pink one is. I'm hoping it's a ruby necklace. I'm really hoping it is. I have no idea what color these jewels come in. I am just confused. Do not judge me. I'm just horrible at this. All right. Let's hope we get a good couple of options. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think I already know the answer. I think I know what you guys are going to say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, rate this quickly. I'm going to get this out just for you to see what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I know there's a little bit of a delay, because if there wasn't a delay, this would be happening in real time. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like being the sun and then waiting for an entire 8 minutes before the light center reaches you. This is so weird. I see the number 1, so I'm just going to go ahead with that. It looks quite nice. Let's just bring this over here. Select all of these at once and then group them together in an auto layout. Did I group them together in an auto layout? I don't think I did. I think we need to... I think someone said use 2 and we've already gotten 1, so it might be a little too late. No worries, we'll just do this on the next image as well. There is a little bit of latency, I am aware, and I'm going to work on fixing it. So apologies if this was weird. All right. I think we should change this to green as well, shouldn't we? We should. We absolutely should. Let's change this to green as well. Sorry, black background as well. Let's do emerald, because that's the green one. Emerald necklace. And now you guys have to be really, really quick in rating this. Come on. Make it. All right. Let's see what Figma spits out. I know there's a little bit of a delay between the chat and the comments and the UI design and the image generation in Figma. It's all too much. All right. We're waiting, and we finally have an answer. And I'm going to show you the 1, 2, 3, 4 now. Just be quick in rating this, you guys. We're adding a fill. 1 is this one, 2 is this, 3 is this, and 4 is this. Personally, I'm inclined for the number 2, but I am willing to take opinions over here. Like, I am open to all that comes in. I think 2 is good. What do you think? Just let me know. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I see 2 being really, really pretty. And also we're waiting for the live chat now. So let's see what happens. I think 2 looks good over here. We'll just go with 2. And I also see the number 2 in chat. So I'm just going to go ahead and use 2. All right. Now that we have 2 on our stream, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of color options for some reason, because jewelry comes in many different colors, and we're also going to add a description and a price. So let's just go over here, and Content Guru says 2 is really nice. It is insane. All right. And I'm going to show you a really, really cool hack with Figma auto layout. If you're using auto layouts, if you change the container to a frame instead of a group, because frames are better in terms of auto layout when you're using groups, and then you select one of these and then you just slide it over here. Wow, if you just select one of these frames, add an auto layout, now when you select an image and you just swap it, it swaps this like it for you super duper easily. Like, this is so easy to interchange. I absolutely love the way you can just slide and change the order of things. This is incredible. All right, now we're going to add a price and a name. This is going to be emerald necklace. Let's type out emerald necklace. The whole vibe of everything looking super duper chic, super duper nice is awesome. Normally asks, are you a designer or will you build the website too? I do want to build the website, but unfortunately that's not going to happen on this channel. I do have a programming channel which I am launching really, really soon. It's called Veera Srivastava Codes. I don't know if you can find it right now because it doesn't have any content, but we will get to coding this stuff in the future really, really soon as well, because that is also important. Ritam says, good evening. Good evening. Yes, I do know your name. Wow, that makes me creepy. No, it doesn't. You've been on the channel and the Discord group long enough. All right, let's change this font size to 28. I'm hoping it works. I think it does. It does work with this font size. And we're also going to add a price. The price is going to be smaller than the name, which is just an attached element. Let's just change this to be, what price should we put this at? Can anyone tell me what the price we should put for the emerald necklace? I feel like I'm at an auction. The number has to be in dollars because dollars is the currency available on my keyboard for some reason. This is an American laptop. I am inclined on the number 199, but I will take numbers from the chat. So let me know. All right, this is going to be 26. Let's change this to 26. Content Guru says, much love from Nigeria. Wow, that is so nice. Did you know a lot of my population on Twitter is also from Nigeria? Like, it's wonderful, the stuff that you all do over there in design. It's lovely. All right, let's 25.8 USD. That is a very, very detailed amount. That is very, very detailed. 25.8. But I like our chat. I love this channel and I love you all. So I'm just going to do it. 25.8. Not something I would have personally done, but I like it. I do. All right. 25 USD. That's so specific. Okay, now we need to have color change going on over here. So to do that, to make color change happen, we need to have a circle, a stroke outside of that circle, and then a whole ring outside of it. And then we also need to have another color. So we need to have color options. And the way we're going to do this is go outside, select ellipse or type O on your keyboard, and then you can generate as many circles as you want in Figma. Normally says $7.99 because luxury. For the next one, we're going to do $7.99. I don't know why we are such a weird brand where we do $25.8 for a necklace and then $7.99 for a ring. It's blowing my mind, but it's our website. We can do whatever we want. We can just absolutely crunch the numbers. $7.99 is the number I'm using for the next one, you guys. If you put out other numbers, I will take those as well. Like, I'm open to all feedback, every bit of it. And now I'm using the color picker. This is a super cool trick in Figma. You can use the color picker and choose a color from over here and then choose any shade of green that works. And then we're also going to create a ring. So we're just going to create another circle to create a ring. Make this large enough. And to create rings in Figma, this is another cool hack. You're going to go outside, get the circle out, and then take the circle in the center, make it bigger. I know this takes a little getting used to, and then just create the entire ring and then align it perfectly. We're going to change this color to green as well and make this just 1 pixel bigger and then align everything perfectly. This is our selection tool and we're choosing this green now. I feel like we're going to do the blue option next. We're going to select this circle, get this outside and change this to blue. Let's change this back to blue. This looks good enough for me. All right. And now this is a reusable component for us. We're going to select this, group it together, copy and paste it once again, bring this out here, align it perfectly. And this is going to be sapphire, and then we're going to take the price. Sapphire. Sapphire. What is this? This is a ring. I forget all of these jewelry terms all the time. The one thing I don't understand is jewelry and jewels and all of these weird names. We're doing $7.99 because luxury, because Ritam said so in the chat. But I am willing to take other numbers for the next two as well. So just keep the numbers coming. All right, we're going to change this green back to the blue because of course we need to change the colors. Change this blue to pink because we have a ring available in that color as well. And then I'm going to do the other two as well. So we're just going to select this group once again. And this is just really, really simple stuff. So we're just going to select the both of these at the same time, copy and paste them. We could have created a component if we were reusing it and making the entire slider. But even without that, it makes sense. I think we got a new comment, but I'm not able to read it for some reason. Weird. We're going to change this to say ruby necklace. I think we have an advantage in duplicating both of these at the same time because now we have this necklace and this necklace at the same place. And then I want to change the color as well. I'll take the price from the chat now. What price should I put for the ruby necklace? I'm taking suggestions from the chat. Let me know. I'm open to all feedback in that world. And then we're changing this to white. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to change this to say diamond ring. Can anyone let me know the price for the both of these? Because I am taking numbers from the chat and that is happening for a limited amount of time. All right, we're going to change this to be white, and then we're going to change this green, this next color to be green. With that done, I feel like we have designed a pretty decent slider. I do want to have the next icon over here because without it looks really empty. So we're going to go over to Iconify and we're going to search for the next icon. Always in Iconify wow, always in Iconify, just type out whatever you want to search for at the top. So just search for next at the top, because this top bar lets you search from all the icon groups. But if you use this, then it's going to let you search in only one of these. So this is maybe from material design icon set, this is from Firefox icon set, this is from Microsoft icon set, and those are the type of icon sets that you have, for example. But if you use this, you can only search it for the one that you've selected. So if I select this and then filter icons, then I'm going to be filtering icons from the family of this icons. All icons that look similar will be given to me. So if that makes sense. I have an entire video on plugins in Figma, 5 plugins in Figma everyone needs to use, and it's on the channel. I think it was from September, and then you might want to check it out. Now, one mistake that we made here is this next icon went inside of the frame. We want it to be outside of the frame, so or at least reusable outside of the frame. We don't want it to hide as another card component in the behind of the screen. So we're just going to go over here, click on the ignore auto layout button, and that's going to allow us to keep this inside of the container of the auto layout, but it doesn't immediately enforce the spacing constraints of the auto layout. So alignment and spacing of the auto layout is entirely ignored. Ritam says diamond ring price 0.553 Ethereum. What is 0.5? I will do 0.553 Ethereum if you can calculate the equivalent price in Indian rupees, because I know you're too quickly going to search it in the Googles in the US dollars. I know that. I'm not going to put Ethereum unless you calculate the whole price in all the currencies. All right, we're going to change this to 10, and then we're going to change this color to be white as well. We are using this in a I think we need to get this icon out of the frame entirely. We could have used ignore auto layout, but it was just too complicated. It was getting messy really quickly. All right, we're just zooming in. We're making this smaller, and we're going to select this and reduce the thickness, of course. Let's bring this down to 2. It's always important, even if you change the frame, even if you expand the size of the frame, to allow yourself to have a frame out of a vector. Let me clarify that. This is a vector. This has been drawn using the pen tool. It is always important to have one container that is a frame, because if you don't have it, if you take this arrow and if you place it outside of this frame in the main UI, then when you increase the size of the screen, it's going to get really weird and really wonky. You will avoid yourself a world of pain if you just let there be one frame outside of this icon. I'm just going to leave it at that, because getting into the details, I'm getting into the details really quickly. We're going to add an auto layout now, because of course when you're designing a button or a background, it becomes important to have that, and I'm going to show you why really quickly. We're going to add a fill, and it's going to be black. Let's do black or gray. It has to be from over here in the background. I think black or gray works. 101010 is the perfect hex code for me, and I'm going to add a little bit of spacing at the top and bottom. Sometimes this happens, and to fix that, you just go over here and make sure the width is set to hug contents and the height is also set to hug contents, because when stuff is hugging contents, it takes up the exact amount of spacing that it needs to without overflowing anything out, if that makes sense. We're going to align everything into a perfect circle. Sometimes spacing is a little too much or a little too less, and this looks good enough for us. I am also going to talk about something very interesting that happened once again in Figma. Ever since Figma launched, I have been on Figma long enough to remember a time. Let me just charge the laptop real quick, because otherwise this whole stream is going to go away. We don't want that. Give me a moment. I'm so sorry for the interruption. I do remember a time back in the day when Figma used to have frames and groups, and I'm sure both of those you have already used, both of those you already have seen. You know a little bit about both frames and groups. I do remember a time back in the day, but then Figma introduced sections, and from the day, I don't think sections are available anymore. Like, we have frames, we have groups, I don't think we have sections anymore. Look, it's sort of disabled. I have not used full transparency. I've designed products, client projects, all sorts of fancy things, and used components and variables and advanced Figma things, and I have yet to use sections effectively and repeatedly and easily. Like, I tried it once or twice, but sections was almost always never my tool of choice, and I never understood why and what was happening when you started creating any of these shapes and frame and group were present over here but section wasn't. You can still create a section, but I don't find myself doing that very often for most exportable UI designs. It's useful in FigJam, because in FigJam you don't have frames and groups, but other than that, I've never used sections that much, and it's really difficult to scale with sections if you're just in the process of designing and the whole thing just keeps on continuing. It's a whole thing. Alright, in order to make this arrow aligned to not only the top and bottom but the center, you have to go over here and align this to the center, and that's just going to align the whole thing for you. And we're going to make sure everything is perfectly rounded off, and the spacing also works perfectly for us. We're going to reduce the line height, I think, and this is giving us our perfect button. Alright, so this button will now let us go through back and forth on all of these, and we're going to change the white to black, black to white. 101010 is the black, and in order for us to make sure that this button doesn't get lost in the diamond in the background, we're going to add an effect. This effect is going to be a drop shadow. You can change the spread, you can increase the spread, you can change the y-axis value to 0, and that's just going to simplify your life for you. Like, you could blur it out, x and y need to be 0, increase the spread, and that's just going to make the simplest button for you. Like, look at this. The reason we're doing this is because I'm going to show you the before and after. When you don't have a drop shadow, this is what it looks like, but when you do, this is what it looks like. Drop shadows will elevate all your options, all your items very, very much, and that's really useful when you are using black text on white background, white text on black background, or anything of those sorts. Alright, so with that, we have done the header, we have done the hero section, we have done the main section, we have done a slider for us as well. The next section we're building out is going to be in-store selection section. That's like Sally brought seashells. This is what I'm talking about. This is such a tongue twister. The next thing we're building out is the walk-in store section. So we're just going to create the entire frame for that, and then we're going to have a jewelry store image, which we're going to get from Figma AI beta image generation. Jewellery store. I'm hoping it gives us good images. And by the way, you guys, be ready. There is going to be 4 options that Figma generates, and you have to tell me which one I should use. Like, I'm open to all feedback from the chat. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just really quickly, be ready. Let's see what this spits out, because I know there's a little bit of latency between when I speak and when you guys get to type, which is bad, but 1, 2, 3, or 4. Wow, these are good choices. I am inclined towards 2, but 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm taking feedback. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, you guys, really quickly. Don't let this chat be a dead graveyard. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Can you just type that out, please? I know there's a couple of people typing. I do see it, but we don't yet see what's happening. You know what? I'm just going to put 2 because 2 does look pretty. I will say that there is an honorable mention in my books for 4 because it was also nice, but 2 is the ultimate winner, or is it? I think this is too much because we started off as a mannequin store. Why are we using mannequins now? You know what? I'm just going to do. Ritam says 1 is nice. You know what? We're taking suggestions from the chat. I'll do 1. 1 is fine. At the end of the day, what we need to do is we need to make this image, no matter how pretty it is, blurry. We need to just blur it out. One with the mannequin. I feel like everyone has mannequins now. There is a mannequin here, there. Mannequins are everywhere. I'm just going to ignore everything incompletely and just go ahead with it. You can use any image you want. I've already lost these images at the bottom, and then I'm just fine with this. My point, getting back to the point was over here in the background, no matter how nice, glowy, glittery, golden, yellow, bright your image is, when you need to highlight a piece of text, that is what you're going to do. You're going to highlight the piece of text, and the way you're going to do that is you're going to change this to be black. So you're going to add a fill which is going to be slightly black. Now, blessings on Figma, because it gives you this black 20% version where everything is sort of darkened. You can take this up to 32, 36, and that's just going to be enough for me. After you've blurred it out, and you're going to now have a little bit of text going on. Ritam, I have already lost that image. I can't bring it back. I did want to do the fourth one as well. Super duper sorry, but I'm feeling bad here as well. Like we're on the same boat here. Alright, now we're going to add some text. Now the thing to remember over here is this text and this text needs to be of the same size, same consistency. You can change the color, sure, but other than that, everything needs to have the same consistency. With that said, I'm shifting this up a little bit because spacing was looking problematic. We're going to bring this down here. Change this color to be white. And also, since this is such a weird contrast problem, we're going to now add a drop shadow, and drop shadows are going to make your life so much better. Look, just check this out. This just makes my life so much more readable. And I'm going to show you the before and after here as well. Like, I'm just making this more refined. Now, when I zoom out, this is without drop shadow, this is with drop shadow. I think there is a subtle thing that happens when you have a drop shadow. I do want to reduce this black here a little bit because 36 is just a little too black for me. Now without this, the drop shadow, this is what stuff looks like. But when you add a drop shadow, now things do look much better. And now we're going to change this text to say, visit us in downtown for an exclusive experience. I don't trust myself enough to type that out. I'm being completely honest because I will make a mess and you don't want to see me make a mess because I'll spend the next 30 minutes cleaning it, wasting absolutely everyone's time doing it. So I'm just going to go over here, right click, paste here and match styles. I do encourage each and every one of you who's building this to pause the video and just type this out yourself because it's super duper simple. Just typing stuff, and we're going to make this aligned perfectly in the center. Once that is done, we're just going to align this in the center using this button. This button is to align stuff center in the top, in the horizontal, whatever you call it. You use it once and then you figure out what it's for. Like just don't take my word for it. Try it out yourself. And now we're going to use the mono font, which is Monday to Friday, which is going to say Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m, Saturday through Sunday, whatever it is. Alright, I'm just going to style the text now, and then typing is not my job anymore. We're going to have this say Monday to Friday. Are jewelry stores even open in the other days? I think they are. They've just changed the timing. Alright, we're just going to copy this and select this text, paste it here and match the style. So this is now the text for us entirely. Pause this video, type it out if you want to. If you want the entire text, just pause the video right here and type it out now. I'm giving you a couple of seconds over here. Alright, now we're just going to change this to say Roboto Mono, which is the font that we were using instead of a sans serif font today. Instead of sans serif, we're doing serif mono. Mono is actually a distinct category from sans serif. Reason being, you have some monofonts that don't have serifs, but some monofonts do, and all monofonts look similar. So it made sense to group them together that way. Ritam says, in my opinion, drop shadows are like salt because everyone ignores them when they are present, but everyone realizes their use in its absence. That is the most appropriate, perfect sentence I've ever heard. Good job. That is absolutely true. When you don't have a drop shadow, everyone has a problem with the contrast and everyone has a problem with the way things look. But when you do, no one gives a damn. No one really notices. And that's just so really clear when you're just looking at these things in the minutest of details. Alright, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the address, which we're just going to copy from over here. Nothing whatsoever has changed. We're just pasting the text over here, and also we're going to make sure the font size matches as well. I think I need to bring these down to like 26 and then make sure the spacing between is also good enough. This looks good. This looks perfect. This looks good enough for me. And I'm just going to group these together, align them perfectly in the center. This looks nice enough. Like this is good. Let's go ahead with it. All right, the next section we're designing. Second example says, hello, welcome back. We're designing a real world Freelance UI Design landing page. We're going to design the reach out form and also the footer. By the way, you guys, if you want the top 50 color palettes that pro UI UX designers use, and there is a pattern, by the way, in 2025, go to veerasrivastava.com and get yourself those completely for free. VERASRIVASTAVA. You can probably find it in the description of this video, but if you can't, just go to the channel and it'll probably be in a couple of the links. Like I need to post it. Can I do that? I think I can. In the live chat right now, veerasrivastava.com is how you are going to find the place where this entire thing comes from. I think I needed to do an HTTP before it, but you know what, heck it. Now we're going to design a reach out form, which is going to happen in two different sections. One of the sections is going to have the text that is going on one side, and then on the other side we're going to have the actual form. So we're just going to get this text and this description from over here, copy and paste it back here again. We're going to get rid of the drop shadow, and when you remove it from that background, you realize just how much work we had to do on the drop shadow in order to make things look good. In order to nullify both of them, we're going to add an effect, and then we're going to get rid of an effect at the same time. Change the color to black. Wow, we changed it to a weird shade of gray. We're going to change the color to black, and then we're going to reduce the font size for the title as well. This font size for exclusively for the purposes of this form is going to come down, and it's going to be at 46. And now we're going to change this to say get in touch. Get in touch. Let's align this perfectly, and then we're going to place this on one side, and then we're going to have a little bit of text going on one corner as well. So let's just select this text, copy it, and then have this pasted here. Paste the text here and match the style. I feel like the font size, we're going to let it be the same because it is important to give some attention to the text that's going on over here as well, if that makes sense. We're going to have this text be right here and then align everything on the left side. We could reduce the font size a little bit, but I'm questioning myself. You know what, let's just do 24 and that's it. Okay, the next thing we're doing is obviously creating our form. Wow, what the hell just happened? This is Figma split screen, you guys. If you didn't know, you can now use Figma in split screens. I do like the way they're doing this now. Figma split screens, the new norm. Wow, I think I opened split screens accidentally. This is good enough. Alright, so the next thing we're doing is this one. The next thing we're doing is a form. Why did I just say this one? We're just going to group this together. This is going to stay on the left side, and then we're going to have a form on the other side as well. This form is going to say first name, last name, email, placeholder. Let's just go over here, create a simple rectangle, nothing complicated about it at all. Get rid of the fill, add a black stroke, add this stroke's thickness, change it to 2, and then we're going to have the sans serif the mono text roboto mono, say name or first name. I think we should say first name, and then change the font family to be, obviously, you guessed it, roboto mono. Reduce this font thickness to a regular, bring this size down to a 32, align it perfectly, and I think this is it. This is good enough. We're going to align this here, and then we're going to select the both of these, group them together, just place them over here perfectly. I think this is a little too big, but I don't mind a little too big as long as it gives the right kind of attention to the right kind of section. We did initially plan to have it be in a 50-50 sort of function, and I feel like we should still do that. Like, you could reduce the spacing and that'll make your life much easier. We're just downsizing it because it does look a little too big for its positioning, if I'm being completely honest. Alright, we have this names section over here now. The next thing we're going to do is obviously going to be email and placeholder. Let's just select this group, copy and paste it once again, and then we're going to have this email section take up the entirety of our width. Let's just align it perfectly, make sure it is set to align perfectly with the text at the top, and then we're going to have this text say email address. I'm not sure we said email address in the example for this UI today, but this is fine as well. Alright, we're going to increase the size of this box and make sure to align this at auto width and auto height, just so everything looks all nice and aligned perfectly. we're going to get rid of this, make it auto height and auto width, and then we're going to have this say message. Look at me, I can't even type message on stream. This is so weird. All right, the next thing we need to have, why is this not aligning perfectly? This is so weird. The next thing we need to have is obviously the submit button, because absolutely everyone needs a submit button. So we're just going to have this be over here and then change this to say submit. Let's just select this, and it's just going to be a very, very close copy of that. So we're just aligning this form over here, making it smaller. Make sure to have this be at auto width, align it perfectly in the center, change this text to say submit, group it together, change the fill to be white, change the fill of your rectangle. I think we use two groups now, which is weird. We're going to change the fill of this rectangle to be black. All right, now we're just having our whole entire form in front of us. Now we just have the whole thing ready. We're just going to create the final footer. Let's just go over here to the bottom and align this perfectly. I think the way all of this has been going around, the way the Figma updates have been coming in is absolutely insane, especially if you consider the speed at which things are just getting bombarded on our faces. Like this is truly insane and truly going to be an incredible moment when it comes to keeping up with updates. All right, we do need to have the name and the social media icons and these links over here, so we're just going to get that from the top. Let's just go over to the top, and I feel like this is going to be, this has been a very, very complete, very, very nice build. The footer is also very, very important because it's modern, it's clear, it's unique, it retains its style all the way through. We're just going to change this, increase the size a little bit, go over to the bottom, search for Iconify, and then we're going to search for social icons. Let's just search for X. Let's just search for Twitter because I feel like it's still having a large time searching for X, and then we're going to search for Instagram, and then we're also going to search for Facebook for some reason. Facebook. All right, now that we have all of these at once, we're going to add an auto layout. Make sure the spacing is smaller. And now we're just going to select this frame, add a little bit of spacing over here. I feel like we're just having a really hard time with the whole spacing fiasco. This looks good enough for me. Check it out. This is awesome. All right, we're just making this smaller, making sure the spacing in between is good enough. And now we're just going to have these links in a list for us. So we're just going to go over here and say company, about us, and then have a couple of others as well. Careers, press and blog. Press, and then we're also going to have one that says blog. I do love the style that this font Bebas New is bringing to us. I'm not going to lie about that. This is such a new whole thing. All right, we're just going to select all of these at once and make sure their font is sort of capitalized, and then select all of these at once again. Reduce the font size because these are obviously way too large. And then we're just going to add an auto layout over here just to align all of the spacing, get it right. This looks awesome. And then select this and just place it right here as well. Support, contact us, shipping, returns, SAQ. We're just going to do support. I know this takes a little while, but the end result is so worth it. Support, contact, FAQs, shipping, and I think I forgot the other one. Does anyone remember the other one anymore? I think it was returns. I've shuffled the order a little bit, but it really doesn't matter. Also, you can shift these orders really easily using auto layouts and Framer. And we're also going to just align this, make for ourselves this guy once again. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to get this from over here, bring it down, and then we're also going to get the submit button and then bring this down here as well. Let's just select this guy, bring this down, make sure that both of these are out of our previous frame. So we're going to select the both of them, get them out of our other frame. Let's just select the first name container, and I'm trying to get this out from its initial frame, and then we're going to select the submit button and get it out from its initial frame as well. You know what, it's just align itself in a different frame, which is weird. We're going to align this right here and then select them, make them align equally, subscribe, stay updated, and this is just plain pieces of text. So I'm just going to copy the both of these, and they are both in a very small font size. I think the way we've scaled things in this case, we need to increase the size to say 26, and that is pretty much it. This is so clear, so plain. We're going to change the line height to say auto. You know what, let me just bring this down to 18 because this is more blanket text anyways. Let's have this be perfectly aligned, saying subscribe, stay updated over here, add the first name column, add the submit button. I do think we need to change these colors back because there has to be some sort of hierarchy that goes on visually, and in this case we want the blacks to be the whites and the white sections to be black, and then we're going to change the stroke to be black again. Let's select this text, change it to black, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed our entire UI. I'm just going to close everything else now because this is so awesome. Add a prototype button over here, and now we're going to present it. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Incredible. This is the entire UI that we've made. It looks incredible. It is incredible. Has the most modern title bar, notification bar, header. It has an awesome hero section. It has an awesome description section of the stuff that it's offering. An awesome featured product section. The price is, of course, due to our awesome community voting. And then we also have this exclusive downtown experience section, and then we have the final reach out section and the footer section. I feel like this is the modern quintessential freelance UI UX design project that you need to make a part of your portfolio. Something similar, maybe remix it. This is the ideal landing page in 2025. I'm so proud of this entire thing. The font that we used, of course, not just serif and sans serif, but serif and mono fonts, which is out of my mind. And then we stick to a very clear black and white color scheme, which is also incredible. This whole entire experience has been so awesome. Thank you so much for joining me live. I come here live every single Sunday at Sundays 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 4 p.m. GMT, and I'll see you next week.